back again. I was getting a text message on the last live stream that I just started. I was getting a text message from Mike Neal telling me that the stream wasn't loading, which I guess explains why it said there were 0 people in the room, zero chats, 0 everything. We'll see if it works this time around. I really don't know. I do know when I turned the stream off to start it over, even though I could see nobody in the room, it was showing me that there had actually been at least 1 person who subscribed and 1 chat, although I never got to see the chat. Okay, there we go. Now it says we got 2 people in here. So that tells me that the stream is working this time. Well, let's start all over. I try to do this on every stream. Hey, good morning, Mike. Thank you for the text, sir. I just shut the other stream down and started a new one. So since we started over, we'll go ahead and do the pledge again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll go back over some of the other info I was sharing, although I'm gonna move off the road for a minute for this car that's coming. Some of what I was talking about earlier was apologizing for being gone for a while on these live streams. Emily was in Iowa for 5 days, and over the course of that 5 days, I had to run my handyman business and the YouTube channel and be the only parent for all the kids. So that took up quite a bit of my time. Hey, Edward's in here. Good morning. We hear you loud and clear. That's good, because we do have a lot of wind. I think this is going to be a crappy audio day overall, because we got tons of wind. But yeah, Emily went to Iowa for 5 days, so that was 5 days that I definitely couldn't do these streaming hikes. Man, this wind's crazy. And then for the few days before and after her trip, we also had Silas. He shares a household between us and his biological dad, so those were days that he was with us. And when he's with us, I go hiking with him in the morning, and we don't live stream that. That's just father-son time. Let's get off the road again for these cars. So that's why y'all haven't seen me hiking in just a little bit. Philip said, good morning. We hear you loud and clear. Oh, I think I messed up some comments, but I've kind of read them all anyways. D-out. Is that right? D-out. D-out, Dad. Said, Bulletproof, what's up, man? What's up? Good to see you in here. Okay, all the damn cars are gone. You know, someday I'm going to have a ranch and I'm going to do this hike on my ranch. And there aren't going to be a bunch of cars I have to step aside for. But anyhow, sorry that I missed out on all the hiking. Don't worry, that whole time I got no exercise in. And I did not maintain any kind of... I guess I probably maintained a healthier diet than, I would say, the average American diet. But I didn't stay keto, and I didn't maintain really any particular diet. I was more operating on, I gotta run 2 businesses, and I'm fully responsible for the kids. And that doesn't only mean, you know, responsible for feeding them and making sure they have something to drink. That means I'm responsible for not having them sitting down in front of the TV all day. So I spent a lot of time with them. We went a lot of places and did a lot of things. Man, it's windy. All right. What else we got? David said, good morning. Paul's handyman. Good morning. Got more wind. Got more cars coming. The universe does not want this to be a pleasant, peaceful hike, but that's all right. The universe doesn't always throw at us everything. Sometimes we gotta go through some of the shitty stuff to get to some of the better stuff. Oh, and when these cars come now, I don't even bother like squinting or putting my head down or looking at the ground. I fully I just get off of the road completely into the dirt, and I just turn and face away. It probably looks weird, but any car that sees me as they drive down the road, if they see me during my hike, what they see is a weird guy on the side of the road, just facing away from them, just still, just standing there with a phone, looking at a phone, facing away from them. Paul's Handyman said, just don't lose your hat. Yes, sir. There's another fucking car down there. My God, look at that. It's just one after another. It's like these people think these roads were made for them to drive their cars on and not for me to hike on. Give me a minute. Take a couple sips of coffee. I'll tell you all about a new tool I just built. Y'all are gonna like it. It's a beautiful morning. I hope y'all don't mind me being quiet, but honestly, I'd rather... I get weird as I've gotten older about being interrupted. I don't like following somebody around to talk to it. You know, like if you don't have enough time to just stand here with me for a minute to hear what I have to say, I'd rather not say it. And at the same time, I'd rather not get interrupted. So when it comes to that car, once it's passed and I have some peace, then I'll tell y'all about the new tool. My God, and another one. There's another one already, so gonna have to wait another minute. What do we got for comments? David said, my CRV took a crap yesterday hunting for a new work van that's cheap because this was unexpected. Man, that's hard. That is rough. Sorry to hear about that. I've been there and done that 100%. Let me tell you, while I was building this business and when I didn't really have any money in the bank, like when I couldn't afford that, it happened more than once too. And one of the vehicles I was running used to lose a belt. It's got some pulleys that are not quite lined up just right, with a serpentine belt. And so what it would do is it would just eat that serpentine belt off over time until eventually the whole thing just ripped off. So each belt was good for, it felt like about 2 to 3 months, but I used that van for 2 to 3 years. You know, I used it more building this business than any other vehicle. So using that van for 2 to 3 years, and that belt come off every 2 to 3 months, I became a real expert, kind of like a NASCAR pit crew. I'll tell y'all something about NASCAR in a minute too, but I became something like a NASCAR pit crew when it came to changing that belt. I'd be on my way to the next job, you know, 3rd job of the day, 4th job of the day, and that belt would come off and I'd just pull over just wherever I could, whatever was the next area I could get off the road at. I'd just pull over and hop under there, burn the shit out of myself because everything's so hot, and get that belt swapped and tightened back up, and then back on the road again. Paul's Handyman said, man, David, I'm sorry to hear that. And Mike said, that sucks, David. Good luck, man. Yeah, I'll tell you all about NASCAR first, and then we'll talk about the new tool I built. Jobber just invited me. It's too late, by the way. I said no. It's just to ruin the ending for you before I even tell you the story. But Jobber just invited me to the Daytona 300 in Florida. But the problem is, I'd have had to fly in on the 11th and fly back on the 15th. And I mean, don't get me wrong, if I was just a single guy, that sounds like a dream. Some of the Jobber people that I really like are gonna be there, people that I'd actually enjoy seeing again. I met them in Denver on my birthday, actually, way over a year ago. But they invited me to Florida. Pretty sweet deal. They were gonna pay for everything, you know, flight, hotel. They're gonna pay fly out my wife. If I wanted them to pay to fly out my wife, that wasn't going to be possible just because of our kid situation. But the idea was, you know, there's some dinners and some meet and greets planned. But for the most part, the idea was just for me to make some sort of jobber-focused content at NASCAR. You know, and they had some ideas for the videos, but basically it was going to be left up to me. And they were going to pay me well. There was going to be all expenses paid, you know, plus per diem for my meals, reimbursement for a rental car, plane tickets up to $1,000 each, which means I could have upgraded my seats and whatnot. I don't know if I could have gotten to first class, but could have upgraded my seats. Could have been fun. Not a whole lot of deliverables that they were demanding, but it was just too late. And me and Emily have, you know, she went out of her way to book us a candlelight orchestra dinner type of thing. And we don't get to go out and do fancy things very often. So given that this was one of our very few fancy little dates that we've had set up for ourselves, it just really made sense to say no to this opportunity. But it is cool that they invited me. I do wish I could have gone. There's some people that I like from job, but whatever. There'll be other events in the future. David said that's me right now, a couple hundred in the bank, collecting a check for $2K today from one of my property management companies, and I have $1,300 in work I need to complete. Right on, man. That's how you do it, you know. I did that for a very long time, like a really long time. I would say the hardest part of building my business, if I were to define it in chapters, you know, there was this particular chapter which was the most exciting but also the hardest, and that was the chapter where I was definitely pulling it off. But man, I'll be damned if my bank account didn't go from like $4,000 on Tuesday after one or two property manager checks cleared. It'd be $4,000 in there on Tuesday, $0 by Friday. And then Saturday, that bump up to $1,000, and then Monday back down to 126, and then Tuesday back up to $7,000, and that $7,000 is just gonna be zero again, you know, in like 7 days. And it would just go up and down and up and down, but it always felt like I got to zero the day before I got paid, over and over and over, which is probably partially due to me just paying bills and stuff, you know. I'm sure subconsciously I was figuring out what I could or couldn't get away with, and I was just riding that line pretty close. But I mean, that whole time my mortgage was behind. I was perpetually 1 or 2 months behind on my mortgage for a really long time. My mortgage was like my mortgage was my handyman business's capital expenditure buffer. Because even though a lot of people freak out about paying it on time, and yes, it does affect your credit, and it does, well, for my bank, it cost me an extra $20 basically to pay it late. So for me, it was almost like $1,000 loan that I could take out for $20. It's like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 to tide you over for a few weeks, if by means of, you know, me not paying the mortgage. It was like saying, hey, I'll give you $1,000 to tide you over for a few weeks if you give me $20 and let me put a hit on your credit. And I just lived that way for a little while, getting it all built up. And the good news is, one day you get good enough. Sorry, I look weird, but I'm trying to hold the phone to where y'all get less wind. But one day it happens. I tell you what, I'm gonna keep the phone here. You guys tell me if it's too windy and you really can't hear anything. And if somebody says that, then I'll move the phone. But what happens is one day you just get good enough at this. You start getting efficient enough with your inventory, your job kits, your scheduling, your skills just get better. Everything improves bit by bit until you just notice, like, hey, that bank account hasn't been anywhere near zero in a while. And then it moves a little further from zero. It still does the up and down, but that trough, instead of hitting zero, that trough starts hitting $1,000 instead of zero, and then it's 2,000 instead of zero. And if you want to go blow your money, then if you know how to leave it there, because you understand that it needs to be there. If that's the case, if that's the case, then your bank account starts growing. And what you'll find interesting is when your bank account starts growing and you have that buffer, you're not so scared and you're not so desperate. And when you're less scared and less desperate, then you start realizing, I don't need to take on those shitty jobs that don't pay enough. I'm actually not desperate enough to have to do that anymore. So you stop taking on shitty low-paying jobs, and your stress starts dipping down quite a bit. Stress, yeah, this wind's insane, man. There's nothing I can do about it. But when your stress starts dipping down, you start making better decisions. You start thinking more clearly overall. You start getting faster. You know, when you think part of what comes from that is you start forgetting a lot of things. You don't forget your ladder at home. You don't forget your drill. You don't forget that drawer, you know, that you were supposed to install today. You don't leave the house with that drawer still sitting full bench in the shop, because you're not so scared and desperate and broke anymore, and you just think more clearly. Let's check out some comments. This beard's going pretty real. See that beard? David said one of the crab legs broke. Ball joint control arm. One of the crab legs broke. The mechanic said 1,300, and there's 2,500 and other repairs that needed to be done. So I said junk it. That sucks, sir. Paul's handyman, sad man, that's rough. It's still pretty windy, Ray. Yeah, it's crazy windy. There's nothing I can do about it. Mike said it is windy. We can hear you about 70% of what you're saying. Maybe put the mic under your beard. Yeah, then the phone's under my beard, though. I thought about that, actually. David said, I think I found a truck with a cover and an extended cab for $1,700, so maybe. Boy, that's cheap. If you found that. I can't find anything like that anymore. Wow. Well, I'm guessing we ain't gonna have many people on the stream for the most part because of this wind, so I'm gonna keep going for y'all. As long as y'all want to be in here, I'm gonna stay in here. I really don't think there's gonna be, let me hold the phone over here. Maybe this will protect the mic a little bit, but I mean, you know, wind is wind. It's going to whip around everywhere, and it's just going to do what it's going to do. So as long as y'all are in here, I'll stay in here. But there just isn't really anything I can do about this wind. I suppose what I could have done, had I realized it was going to be this bad and that it was going to stay this bad, is I probably could have got my external mic and hid my external mic under my beard or something. Probably would have still sounded not quite right, but probably would have been better than this. Oh, okay. Well, apparently this is a little better. Let me try to cement this in a little bit. If this is helping, then I'll keep it this way for as long as I can. I told y'all I was going to tell you about this tool I built. Mike Neal already has access to it. Edward, I'll probably give you... Actually, I tell you what, if you're on this live stream and you want access to my new tool, go ahead and email me and give me what I'll need to give you access if you want like early beta access. What I'll need is I'll need whatever email address you signed up for or with at bulletproofhandyman.com. So whatever your login is, whatever email address that is, send me that. And I'll add you as a beta tester for this new tool. Man, so much wind. Yeah, everybody seems to agree that this way of holding the phone is helping. Grasshopper's in here. Good morning. Cool, cool, cool. Add Q&A sticker. Interesting. Yeah, it looks like I can add Q&As and stuff in here. That's kind of neat. Not interested at the moment. I'm hiking. Oh, all right. So, I was talking about this new tool I built. So, one of my sponsors is LiveSwitch. And there's a link in the description if y'all want to check them out, by the way, which is kind of the whole point of building the tool. But LiveSwitch has a particular video AI where you can give it a custom prompt. You can upload your video and it will come back with, so let's say you're on the job and you've got, I don't know, a hole in the wall, you know, some drywall patching you've got to do. And you don't know what to do. You take a video of it, you send it up through LiveSwitch into their little Lucky. Lucky's the name of the AI. It's like a little dog named Lucky. And you send your video up to Lucky and you give it your own prompt. So you're not relying on their prompt. They do have, it's not a secret prompt, what do you call it? It's not a master prompt, a system prompt. They have their own system prompt that you can't see that gets added to your prompt. And their system prompt is partially the secret sauce. Oh, cool, Edward, right on, I'll add you, Edward. Yeah, so they have a system prompt. It gets added to your prompt and to your video that you uploaded. And your prompt is where you're going to tell the AI, what do you want? Like, or do you want me to tell you what steps to take to complete this job? Do you want a list of materials? Like, do you want me to just describe it, but in a poem, you know, whatever you want. And then they send it up and it gets processed. I don't know. I don't think they're using their own in-house custom-built AI. I think they're using a highly engineered system prompt, and then they're using an API on the back end into somebody else's AI, which is how most AI products work. Most AI products are not. Most of the time, the company hasn't built their own internal AI. They're using prompt engineering combined with APIs and workflows into other systems. Don't worry, I'll get around to everything I'm saying. I'm just very annoyed at the wind, watching where I'm going, thinking things through. I keep wanting to stop talking because I think you can't hear me, and it's like I want to wait for the wind. And then I remember that's kind of stupid. It's not going to work. There's no waiting. This isn't going to stop. But anyways, so like I said, there's a link for them in the description if you want to go get a free trial. But what I wanted to do, because they're a sponsor, and I'll just be honest with you here, I think their product is a great product. I really do. Like, I think their Lucky AI is a great product. But I think that without someone like me, or, you know, a LiveSwitch employee, sort of guiding you through the process of figuring out how to sign up and how to get to the AI and how to use the AI. It's not super intuitive how to get there. And I've talked to the CEO of the company, actually the CEO and the, COO, both of them. I've talked to them both about the fact that, you know, we call that friction. There's too much friction to get to the point where you actually get to see the value. And so, but they don't want to change the way their stuff is set up. They've got it set up to where if you want to sign up, there is a free trial. And it's not like super hard to find. I mean, I found it quickly because I was curious, do they have a free trial clearly labeled button that you can find on the home page? It's there, you know, you're not going to not find it if you're a reasonably intelligent person. But my point is, the way their site is built is really to funnel you into setting up a demo for them to show you how it works. And the reason they need to do that is because although they built a great product, they didn't build a great user journey around the product. The user journey being what you experienced from the moment that you begin your journey looking into their project, all the way up to the moment that you finally become a customer. Everything in between there, and after there, I suppose, too, but especially everything up to that point is a user journey. And user journeys should be clear, simple, should be a minimal number of steps. And I mean, for me, more than anything else, if I have to book a demo, then I'm just not gonna ever experience that product. If you can't give me a free trial, which, like I said, they do, the button is there, but if you can't easily and clearly, without friction, just give me a way to just test out your stuff, I'm probably never gonna learn about your stuff, because I don't wanna book a demo with some guy I've never met for a product I've never used and don't know for sure is even going to be a valuable product. I shouldn't, if your product is valuable, I shouldn't need to go through that process to find out. And for some reason, LiveSwitch just really feels that that's the right way to do it, because their fear is that you're not going to figure it all out on your own, and you're going to find the process to be full of friction, and you're going to quit your journey before you get to that point at the end where you become a customer. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I have, I can look at my metrics, and with my link, there have been 500, and as of yesterday, I was emailing them. As of yesterday, there was 571 clicks into their product on my link. So 571 of y'all clicked the button and went to their website. And one of y'all actually created an account. And that doesn't mean, I don't mean even decided to purchase. I'm saying everybody who clicked that button, they didn't even create a free trial, because I'm assuming the page they landed on didn't show value. There's nothing on the page that you land on that makes you go, oh, yeah, this might be a good product for me. It's even confusing on that page, because there's two different ways to sign up, and you don't even know, which one you should choose. And the big button is for book a demo instead of free trial, and then you have to scroll down to find the free trial. I know I'm talking a lot, but we got time. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Paul's Handyman said, Ray, what's the email again? bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. Michael said, define waits for no one. David said, you sound pretty good now. Thank you. I'm holding the phone in a really weird, uncomfortable way, but it seems to be working. Blue Collar Worker said, need more podcasts from you. Love them. Oh, awesome, man. I'm glad you like it. Blue Collar Worker, are you hold on. Are you a YouTube channel, or you just have a really great name on YouTube? Paul's Handyman said, thank you, sir. You're welcome. All right, so moving on. So that's, that was my motivation, was essentially, well, that's where the motivation started. I was looking at it and I was going, man, I don't like having sponsors that don't get anything out of working with me, because if you're not really getting enough clicks and conversions, then either I've picked a bad sponsor who isn't selling you a good product, or the sponsor just isn't good at selling you a good product. And I think that's the case. I think it's a good product, but they're not good at selling it to you. So what I decided to do was, I came up with a whole, I have to admit, I'm patting myself on the back for this. Oh, look at this. Tell me that ain't beautiful. How about, I want to find the right angle here. There's that. I like it with that singular tree right in the middle. Come down like got that barbed wire in there, right about there probably. Oh, gorgeous. So So here's the idea that I came up with, because in my head what I was thinking to myself was, I need a way to show my audience the value of their product, which means if they're not going to make a friction-free way for you to just get a taste of what their AI can do for you, then I need to create a friction-free way so I can introduce you to their AI. And then you've seen the value. And then it's up to you if you want to go either get a free trial and figure out the software yourself, or after you've seen the value, then you probably want a demo because you'll want an expert helping to show you how to use this great software. So I started thinking on it, and I was like, okay, well, I suppose if they can give me an API into their AI, then what I could do is I could just build my own upload button so that you could upload your video of your project. You can upload it, you can set your system prompt or whatever, tell it what you want out of your video, and then I could use their API, even if I have to pay them to use their API. I can use their API, and I can API into their software, and you can get your report back from their lucky AI. So in the morning, yesterday morning, I sent an email off. Wow, this wind is insane. Yesterday morning, I sent an email off to him, and I told him that. I said, hey, I know we've had this conversation and you're not changing your site, but I want to introduce people to your AI by way of, hold on, I'm going to cross to the other side of this dirt road so that I don't have a dirt road's worth of dirt getting blown onto me. I can just have a pasture's worth of dirt getting blown onto me over here. Wow. My goodness. Here's another view, by the way. So, I emailed him and I said, hey, I want to API into your AI, and I want to set it up from my website. He said, don't worry, I'll limit the videos to 1 minute. I'll limit it to one video generation, like one report generation, one uploaded video per week. So you don't have to worry that somebody's just going to go use my API into your site to just sort of bypass getting an account. By the way, this wind's blowing way harder now. Can y'all verify that you can hear me? Just in case. I don't want to just be talking if y'all literally cannot even hear me at all. Let's see. Paul's Handyman said, thank you. Edward said, LiveSwitch takes you to their book a demo page. Exactly. There's somewhere on that page, at least there was previously, a free trial button, but you had to scroll down and go looking for it. That's the page I was talking about. Blue Collar Work said, just a guy repairing tools at work at the moment. Cool. Welcome in, sir. You got a good YouTube name going on there. The Humble Handyman said, I put the email in the chat. Maybe it didn't show up. I didn't see it. Paul's Handyman said, it is a beautiful sunrise, yeah. Gotta run, y'all have a great day, we'll see you, Paul. Paul's Handyman said, I can hear you too, that's good. And Mike said, we can still hear you, it's way better on that side, cool. Hat's about to blow off, I can feel it. Alright, let's keep taking the journey of building this tool. I emailed him and I said, hey, give me your API. I'm going to introduce people to your lucky AI through my Bulletproof Handyman website. So people will just be able to go and put in their own video, limit it to a minute, put in their own kind of prompt type of thing, just saying what it is that they're looking for. Oh wow, this campsite's getting blown apart over here too. And then they'll get to experience the value of what you're offering. And I think that if you can just show them what it is that you're able to do for them, then they'll want a demo, because to them the demo won't even be a demo. It won't be to sell them on the product, it'll just be free training so that they can use the product better. I sincerely just felt that way and still feel that way. But I didn't get an email back, and you know, throughout the day I wanted to get the product built. So what I decided to do is I thought, well, you know what I can do is I can just build the entire thing, but instead of having their API, I'll go find an AI online that I can API into, that can understand video, that can, you know, decode it and break it down and understand it. And I'll have a shittier version of what LiveSwitch has. And then when LiveSwitch gives me their API, then all I've got to do at that point is just swap out the API. Just put one API in for the other so that you're experiencing LiveSwitch's API instead of whatever API I chose. And then, you know me, I can't do anything half-ass. So the next thing I did was I went and started figuring out what video APIs are out there. Turns out Google has a great one. In fact, one of the best ones in the industry, and I can afford it. So I went and hooked up that API, and I did a whole lot more work. And you know, so with LiveSwitch, when you use LiveSwitch, you put in your own prompt. Basically, you tell LiveSwitch on every video that you upload. And yes, you can create buttons for different standards. So you can say, you can have one that's going to tell you, my God, it's crazy out here. On LiveSwitch, you can have multiple prompts that you save, so you can reuse prompts over and over if you happen to have written a good one that you really like. And with mine, there's only one prompt. It's my prompt. You do get to say what the problem is, but mine assumes that you're showing it something that somebody wants to hire you to work on. It assumes that that's what you're showing it a video of. And you give it a title, the job itself, you give it a title. You tell it what your description of the problem is, and you tell it what your goal is, because your goal may not be what it thinks. Like, you may have a ceiling fan that's got a globe missing, and you may just want a new ceiling fan, and you're trying to show it the ceiling fan for a new ceiling fan because the globe's missing, and it might say just replace the globe. So to prevent that, you tell it what you want the end result to be as well. But it all assumes that this is a project somebody wants to pay you for, and that it needs to help you figure out a lot of information about the project. And what mine will give you, instead of you being able to put in your own prompt, I have a prompt written already. It's my prompt, and I spent probably 2 to 3 hours. I spent more time actually building that one prompt than I did building everything else that I built yesterday for this project. I mean, literally probably close to 3 full hours just really fine-tuning that prompt. And there's a lot with AI that if you don't understand sort of how it works under the hood, then it's hard to write one that's going to actually give you what you want every time, because it just makes a lot of assumptions, and every AI is different. But so now with mine, you go upload your video, you just tell it what the problem is, what you want the end result when you're all said and done, what you want that end result to be, and then it gives you this really, I think, a really beautiful breakdown of your project. It's going to tell you step by step what it thinks you need to do to fix it. Keep in mind, there's no correct answer. You know, every tradesman's going to take a different path to get to that final product. So this AI is just going to give you one possible path. The intent isn't that you're just going to do what it says. The intent is that it's a collaborator. It's somebody who gave you their take, and you can compare its idea with your idea, you know. But it'll break it all down. It'll tell you what to do, how many hours it thinks it should take you to do that, how much money you should charge. And it's not using the hours, it's not multiplying an hourly rate, because you're also giving it the zip code of the job, or your zip code or whatever, but you're giving it a zip code. And it's actually doing some research and trying to tell you what it thinks you should be charging where you're at. And it gives you some, you know, some ranges. It's not a tiny range either. It's a wide range, and you still have to make decisions on, am I going to be near the bottom of that range or the top of that range? But I'll tell you something, you know, in my mind, what I was anticipating was that I would API into LiveSwitch's API, and this tool would really just be to introduce you to their product. And it still may be that, I don't know yet. But I can tell you this, I ran the very first test, and it was a simple one, really simple, really easy one. But I ran the very first test of the entire system, which for me, I'm usually going into something like that assuming that I'm about to run, you know, 47 tests until finally number 48 is the first time it succeeds. And instead, the very first test I ran, it just built the most beautiful end product that I felt, you know, yes, I can nitpick it apart. I have issues with its end product that I'm trying to improve upon today. But I think it did a great job. I really do. Right out of the box. Right out of the box. No debugging. I mean, don't get me wrong, after that first successful try, there was debugging in terms of user access. You know, I thought of some new things to implement, and I'm trying to get those implemented, and they're not working because I want you to be able to upload from your phone, or rather, record from your phone. I want it to be set up to where you don't have to record a video. By the way, we made it to the road. I don't want it to be a situation where you have to record a video separately and then go through the process of uploading the video. I want you to be able to just, from your phone, while logged into Bulletproof Handyman, to just hit a record button, you know, and record just like that, straight into the app. So I'm working on that. But now the question is, it's really interesting. Now the question is what I built better than what LiveSwitch has? I don't know if it is or not, because what I do know is that LiveSwitch has a lot of experience. They have good engineers, and LiveSwitch especially has, so they can take videos of, I think, any length. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's probably some particular length where it starts getting messed up, and I really don't know like where that line is drawn. But I guess what I'm saying is LiveSwitch, I think, is probably doing a higher quality. Man, how's this? I feel like y'all probably don't want to look at me from over here, but I'm trying to keep you out of the wind somewhat. Or I can just come way over here, put the back of the phone to the wind again. So the question becomes, though, have I built something as good as LiveSwitch? Or have I built something better than LiveSwitch? Or have I built something worse than LiveSwitch? Is what I built reliable and reproducible over time? There's a lot of questions I need to answer, because I'm not going to use my product to send you over to LiveSwitch if my product's better than LiveSwitch. But then the question becomes, okay, well, the reason I do all of this, I do love doing it, but this is a business for me, and I do need to be profitable with my business, and it doesn't make sense to put a bunch of time and money into building a replacement for LiveSwitch and then give it away for free. That literally just doesn't make any sense, because that's, you know, part of my actual income, and that's part of what supports me running this channel. So the question becomes, do I use the tool to send you to LiveSwitch? And to know that, I first need to know, is my tool better or worse or the same? And then number two, if I'm not going to use it to send you to LiveSwitch, if I'm going to just try to provide the tool for you, then what do I charge? I'm thinking $10 per generation, but I'm also thinking maybe some number of free generations, one free generation per week, limited to like smaller videos and stuff to keep my API and compute costs down. Or, I don't know. But I find it neat that it seems that what I've built is high quality. It seems that it is. I don't know that it is. It hasn't been tested enough. You'll see this beard going everywhere. What I built hasn't been tested enough for me to actually know if it is. And, one of the limitations on mine is that you can't just prompt it with whatever you want. If you do, you're just going to get back this ugly page of just information that it crapped out for you. And like I said, with mine, what you get, neat. I'm watching him go down this other road here. This truck that went by, there's a road over there I didn't know about, a little dirt road that I didn't know about. I might have to start taking that. Hell, I could go explore it right now if I wanted. But yeah, so I built a really cool thing. A really, really cool thing that I didn't think I could build. And I don't know if I did a great job building it or if I got really, really lucky, or if it's a little bit of both, or if maybe AI just got even better than it has. I mean, it always is. It's always true that it's better today than it was yesterday. But I'm still in shock because this is an extremely valuable tool. This seems to be doing a good job. And if I built this and it works the way it appears to work, it's a game changer for new guys. It's not a tool that a new guy should ever use to just tell him what to do and what to charge. But I mean, if you're a new guy and you really don't have a lot of confidence in all of your decisions and all of your pricing, and you're kind of out there on your own trying to figure this out, this tool could be a great collaborator for you. So I just think it's pretty neat. And it's built, whoever's emailing me or texting me, I know, Edward, I saw your text message too, but whoever's emailing me or texting me with whatever email address they're logging into my site with, I'll set y'all up as beta testers, and I'll let y'all run a few projects through there, and y'all can tell me, just literally just tell me what your opinion is. You're Edward and Mike, for sure, the two of you I know for a fact, I know you both very personally. We've all camped together and hung out together multiple times now, so I know that you guys know what steps are involved in getting a particular project done, how long it should take, what you should charge in your area. So we'll get y'all hooked up as beta testers. And there's just one answer I'm looking for in the end. I mean, I'm open to all your feedback. I want especially your negative feedback. Positive feedback is kind of useless, telling somebody their thing is great. That just basically means you can stop trying now, and that's no fun. So give me your negative feedback so I can improve things. And we'll figure out if ultimately, and the other thing I got to do though is I got to test it with longer, more complex videos. And I got to test it to see how its accuracy is, not just in a general sense, but in comparison to LiveSwitch as well. And we'll see what I've built, I'm going to feel really bad getting all excited about a sponsor and telling them how much I love their product and how much I want to work with them. And then all of a sudden pulling back and saying, never mind, I just built your product myself and now I'm, swooping in and taking all your clients. I don't want to do that. And that's not what I've done. I don't know how their project is built. They haven't told me. I do know that they don't have their own AI. Like, they haven't custom built an in-house AI, which, like I said, nobody has. I know that, but I mean, other than that, I don't know anything about what they actually built or how they actually built it. I've guessed what they probably did. And then I went and tried to do what I imagine they probably did. And I think I just accidentally built something really cool, man. I think I built something really cool. And one of the next steps Actually, I'll tell you, one of the trains of thought that also led up to this is me wanting to build something that can, where you can do a walkthrough. So I have a client. Oh, by the way, we'll dive into this subject. Let's see. Just make sure I catch up on the comments. Paul's Handyman said, okay, so I was able to come back for a few. So my question is, are you at all afraid of them coming after you for making something based on their software? Oh, no, there's no, they're not doing anything that's like patented or anything like that. Corn 1999 is angry. Paul's Handyman said, you might just do a subscription. Thought about that too. The Humble Handyman said, I have a few jobs today and I'll test it out. I could also do some mock repairs at home. Right on. I mean, that's what I did. There's always shit to fix in my house. My house is in worse shape than any of my rentals. I shouldn't say that. I have some nasty rentals I work on, but my house always has, you know, I think for a handyman, this isn't true always. Yes. For me, I'll just say for me, my house is the least maintained because I'm too busy working and trying to pay bills to have the time to fix my house. If I have to choose between fixing my house for free or fixing somebody else's house for $100 an hour, I'm usually trying to do, you know, the latter rather than the former. But let's dive into one of my clients. Two different things going on at the moment. Number one, it's time for an annual review already, which I don't actually think it is time. I think they want to do the annual review because I think that this is the one that y'all have heard about quite frequently. This client, they're the type of client that in the past, when I built my relationship with them, what they really ended up wanting, and you know what they want based on their behavior, right? The fact that they kept coming back over and over. So what they wanted, what they were happy with, was sending me jobs and then receiving invoices. And they really didn't want to concern themselves with my pricing, like they were fine with my pricing. They didn't want to concern themselves with how I was doing things almost at all. They were just happy. But now they're growing. The company's growing. It's becoming more corporate. They've bought up lots of smaller companies. They've built up their headquarters, which I think is up in Phoenix now. I think it was here, but now I think it's in Phoenix. But, you know, they're trying to do the whole cost savings thing. They're trying to do the corporate thing where you start really looking at where all your money's going and you start trying to rein in all that spending. And one of the things they want, among many, is, you know, they want me to do free estimates. And they also have some things with business licensing they want me to do that my accountant disagrees on. My accountant tells me that the way I'm handling my business licensing is the correct way, the legal and correct way, and that what this company wants is not the correct way. It's just because they have a box that they want to check. And I can't run my business a special way just for one client. But anyways, that's coming up. We'll see how it goes. I'm willing to lose them, but at the same time, I have a funny feeling that I'm gonna want them in the near future. I don't know why, because I'm not saying I have any specific plans, but as far as this overarching plan that I have had for a while of building this business out with W-2 employees and stuff, I really don't know why. I just feel in my gut that I should hang on to this client, not because of the business. I don't need the handyman business to be where all of the profit comes from, if that makes any sense. I'm doing enough with YouTube and sponsors and websites and tools and all of this other stuff. I'm doing enough that I don't have to have them. You know, I don't know how much of my revenue they are, but they're just not as much as is super important at the moment, but I think they could be. So I'm going to try to work with them where I can. But aside from this new meeting, this new, annual review, which, like I said, I don't think it's been a year or even close to a year since the last one. But email me randomly with this novel new idea. And I'm laughing because I've offered this to them in the past and they acted like it was a stupid idea. But now all of a sudden they're wanting to know from all of their vendors, hey guys, we were thinking of paying you guys to do these move out inspections. And here's a short list of the things that we would want to include in the inspection. And it's the most generic. If y'all have seen my inspection checklist, you've seen a work of art, like something that I've put together. It was not nonchalantly when I put that together. I put all of my experience of having built this business and worked on hundreds and hundreds of move-outs, thousands of jobs, but specifically hundreds of move-outs, really with a full understanding of all the different things that we need to be looking for. And so anyways, they gave a very stupid little list, not an impressive list at all, and was like, can you try to give us an idea of what you guys would charge either to inspect per item on the list? So, charge $5 to inspect the smoke detectors, and I'll charge $12 to inspect all of the faucets and appliances that use water or whatever. And let us know. Oh my. Better come back over to this side of the road. That was a lot of dirt on my face. So they want to know, what would you guys charge? Either for the whole list or for just each individual thing on the list, line itemed out. What would you charge to do this inspection? And it sounds like they want to try to put together a price list for what they should be paying for all of, like say a doorstop, which, y'all know me, I believe almost all of this is standardizable. That's what I've been working on for basically 5 years now, is towards this goal of standardizing. So I emailed back and I let them know that I'm working on, because I am in the background, I haven't even talked to y'all very much about it, but one of the things I've been working on mentally and with ChatGPT as a separate project, where I just kind of go there to add my notes as I build it up in my head, but I want to do an app, like a standalone downloadable app on your phone, where you can do a walkthrough on video, like it records while you do the walkthrough and it hears what you're saying, and it's basically generating a report based on your walkthrough, pulling stills from the video and everything. That's what I want to build. So, and that's what I've been working on. So I said something in the email to the effect of, I also sent them my inspection checklist, which I didn't have to do, but I do think it might go towards, it might make some progress towards developing some goodwill, because they don't like some things about how I do business. I haven't changed how I do business. All of my business was business that they loved before. It's just that they're growing and they're getting more corporate, and now they want to corporatize everything, and they need me to fit into their slots, and I don't fit in. So I figured it doesn't cost me anything to send them my checklist, which is quite impressive. So I sent it to them because, two reasons. Goodwill, just to generate some goodwill and say, here you go, this is what I've already been doing for years, just not for you guys. And, and the other goal is, my God, if they use it, well, then the property managers are finally going to start doing a good job of inspecting. And all of the move-outs are going to double in size if they actually use my checklist. Then every move-out is going to be twice as much work. I know this for a fact, because they miss more than half of what they need to find. Every property manager, you'll have a property manager that never misses a dinged door frame. She sees every ding in the paint on every door frame for some reason, probably because a tenant moved into a property she inspected 2 years ago, and that tenant, wrote up all the door frames are dinged, and then the homeowner was like, why the hell are we finding this out now? after the old tenant is gone, the 14 days has already passed, we can't charge them, now this has to come out of my pocket, and now that property manager never misses a ding door frame. But she doesn't notice that the door stop is missing down below. Or she doesn't notice that, you know, the pull chain on the ceiling fan isn't a full pull chain anymore and you can't reach it. She doesn't notice all of those things. So I sent the list, but I also mentioned that I was working on that app, and then I went to work on the app a little. I had some ideas like, oh yeah, let's go revisit this. Let's go talk to ChatGPT for a minute and build some more of these plans. And then it was some of that, you know, that also got me thinking like, okay, well, which video AI should I be APIing into? So it all came together. I don't want to call it a perfect storm, but it was just really the right set of circumstances at the right time ended up leading into me building the tool I built. And for everybody who wasn't in here before, if you want to beta test the new tool, you can email me at bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com, and whoever wants to beta test it, what you need to do is you need to send me the email address that you use to log in to bulletproofhandyman.com, because the way that I can give people permissions to see and use that software to beta test is by adding your email address to an allow list that says allow people who are logged in with these email addresses to be the beta testers. So you got to email me at bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com, and I will then add you to the allow list so that you can test what I've built. Some nice chicken coop over there. Alright. No new comments. A couple other features I made for this new thing I built is that when you run through it, one of the things you do is you can download a PDF of your report. Just a little download button, you click it, it just automatically downloads to your computer like you would expect for any other software with a download button. Downloads PDF. It will also, I don't think I have it set up to automatically email you the report yet. I think right now you have to click the button to do that, but I think I'm going to set it up to be automatic though, so that when you get a report generated, because let's say you accidentally, you know, click onto another page and you can't find your way back to it or whatever, it'll just land in your, no matter what happens, worst case scenario, you just got to go to your inbox and it'll be there. I also made a button for adding it to your vault. If y'all don't know, if you're at bulletproofhandyman.com, you all have a vault, and the vault is a secure place for you to store documents. So those can go in there as well. And then, yeah, I've also set it up so that it also just goes ahead and saves it, you know, just to your account. And there's a little library menu on the right side of the screen where, assuming you're typing these reports well, you can just go pick one and click on it and open it back up and revisit it. It's some neat stuff. This button. Okay, link. What is quick share? Reconnecting. Here I am. Apparently I disappeared for a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to share something with y'all. What's this? No. Whatever. Settings. That's fine. I was going to share with y'all a little video where I recorded, just used my phone camera to record one of my reports for one of my projects that I ran. a nice morning. Weirdly enough, I don't feel like I got a lot healthier over like the last 10 days, but I do feel like this hike is a little easier. I feel like I'm less out of breath. So I don't know what that's all about, because it seems like the last few hikes, you know, I think we had a little bug go through our house too, though. I think we got, what is it, like RSV maybe, if I'm not forgetting the name of it. I think we got some kind of little cold, like one of those ones that you don't even really get very many symptoms, but you just feel down because it's like a really weak virus. I do feel like I may have gotten one of those last week, so maybe that's why. But I definitely feel less out of breath on this hike than I have in the past. Winter's over. Talk about making me sad, man. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna have to use my air conditioner again. It's about to be hot again. I really hoped last summer, I was really hoping that before this summer, I was gonna get my house all set up with a bunch of mini splits, because my house is, well, it's huge. It's 3,000 square feet, and I have one giant 5-ton air conditioner for it. And if you don't know, 5 tons is not enough for a house my size. And then also just the way it's all built and the way everything's laid out, it ends up being that I have some parts of my house that I have to allow them to get really cold in order to allow a lot of cold to sort of find its way into other parts of my house to keep them from being really hot. And it's old, you know, it's a train, but I bought it 15 years ago. It's 15 years old. It is a train, so it's still running, but man, it doesn't run as good as it once did. And you know, it's older, so it breaks more now, which means when summertime hits and it's 120 degrees outside and it's running full bore, my whole house isn't actually going to be necessarily super comfortable in terms of temperature. And I'm just like waiting every day for the next contactor to burn out, or, you know, for the fan blade to crack and then I got to order a new fan blade, or my condenser fan motor. I've replaced the thing 3 times in 15 years. So, you know, it gets expensive and it gets scary. Just scary because I've got kids and a wife, you know, and the kids are not in school. They're at home. Well, one of them is, but I've got 2 that are not in school, and they never will be in school. And I got a wife at home with them. A lot of things going on. You know, I need to use my computer to do my job. Well, if it's 120 degrees, you can't even use your computer in the house. It'll overheat. So I was hoping to have retrofitted the whole house with mini splits, because then the worst case scenario is one mini split goes out and you just make all the other mini splits colder, and that air can leak around a little bit, but you don't lose your whole house cooling all at once when you've got 4 or 5 mini splits. But yeah, I'm just not excited about losing the winter. I do love the winter time. Cold. I get invigorated and I really just kind of wake up, and I don't know, I feel energized when it's cold. don't see a lot of Dobermans. Hey. Oh yeah, another piece of info for you guys. Apparently some guys on Facebook had noticed and mentioned this. I haven't really announced it. I didn't think anybody would notice or care. But although I'm still live streaming, I'm not leaving my live streams published anymore. And I'm not taking them down the instant the live stream ends. I'm going to be leaving them up for a few days at a time, I think. I haven't decided the time period. But had a couple people, just like overall in the last few months, I've had just a few people emailing me and seemingly feeling like, how do I put this? There's a lot of people who you might think this is about you, and chances are it's not, right? I think you'll know if this is about you. But I've had some people just trying to figure out way too much about me, and even feeling like it's appropriate to reach out to me to let me know what they've figured out. And I don't hide a whole lot, you know? And I don't want to hide a whole lot. I don't want to feel like I consider myself to be somebody who has any reason to hide. I don't think I'm important enough for very many people to really want to know very much about me, unless you're just the kind of guy that would, that we would just be friends if we happen to live in the same place and you just like what I'm doing. But I've just had a couple people, I think, taking things just a little further than I like. And what I'm realizing is I don't want to stop sharing, and I don't want to stop being me in an authentic way. But if that's going to be the case, if I am going to talk openly about my opinions about things and about what I like to do, where I like to go, and just what my hobbies and interests and places and things are, if I'm going to do that, I can't have it all up, because it's one thing for one person to be able to watch this one live stream and maybe extract a couple pieces of info on purpose or accidentally. But it's quite another thing to have 127 live streams up from 127 different hikes where somebody, if they want to do too much, can just go binge watch 127 of these and start extracting all of that information about me. So to be clear, it's nothing like super creepy or super crazy. If you're thinking that I'm talking about you, I'm probably not. If you know that I'm talking about you, I probably am. But if you just think you are, you probably would know. And so, I guess to boil it all down, just expect that these live streams will continue. Expect that I will continue being my authentic self without reservation. But also expect that I'm only going to leave them up for a day, or maybe 2 days, or you never know. I could change my mind and just take them down as soon as the stream is over. And maybe I'll just say, hey, I don't want people, you can come along with me, or you can not come along with me, but you'll have to be here in the moment, wherever it ends up going. It's not a huge deal. I'm just going to be making some changes, though. And already have. I've already taken all the other live streams down. So, just know that. Just a privacy thing. No crazy stalkers or anything like that. We had deer out here when I first moved out here. You saw them very rarely, but if you came down this road, the one I'm on right now actually, and some other roads over here, every now and then you 30 minutes before sunrise, when the sky's just starting to change colors kind of thing, you'd see them bound across the road and off into the brush. I haven't seen any deer around here in forever. I bet it's been 10 years. Mike said I noticed the live stream thing. Yeah. Scott Hughes, you know, who's on the Facebook group page. Scott Hughes texted me the other day to let me know that somebody on the Facebook group page not only noticed but was asking about it. He was like, hey, I can't seem to find Ray's morning hike live streams anymore. Does anybody know what happened? Did they get taken down? So I told Scott, yeah, I told him why. He said he was going to go put a post up explaining that. Hopefully it's a professional post. You know, what I don't want is any sort of, I don't want anybody implying that there's anything dramatic going on. It's not dramatic. It's just, for me, it's just an easy choice. It was just a little bit here and a little bit there. And then one day I just kind of went, you know what? I guess I do need some amount of privacy. So let's just go ahead and kind of change the way we're doing this. That is a different kind of barrel cactus right there. The hooks on this barrel cactus are way more prominent than most. And there's a lot of them around here. I see them all the time. And a lot of the hooks on a lot of these barrel cactuses, or not a lot of the hooks on a lot of them. All of the hooks on all of these barrel cactuses are basically the same length. And then this one that I was just looking at there, it seemed like each little batch of spines had like 2 or 3 short ones and then 1 long one each, which is an interesting little variation. Mike Neal said if something important happens, there will be a video. I think it's a smart choice. Yeah, right on. But I do still have the live streams. They're just not published. They're still in my YouTube studio. I can make them public again someday if I want to. Hell, even if somebody that I trusted, like if somebody on the site said, hey man, I'm just trying to build my handyman business and I find a lot of value in what we talk about on your live streams, you know, can you just send me links to them? I can even set it up so that it's unpublished to the public, but to where you can watch it with a link. So, you know, even then, as long as it's not somebody that I just feel inappropriately is trying to figure out too much information about me, I don't even mind sending links, you know, to individuals and saying, yeah, here's the last 20. If you want to watch them, you can just click the link and watch them. They just won't be available for you to search and discover on YouTube. Getting pretty close to being back home. And then I'll get to work again. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I've got another sponsor, Quo, Q-U-O. They're for business phones, where it's basically an app on your phone, you know, so it's VoIP. But specifically for you to have a business phone that's labeled and legally as such. And they get you through, in a very quick and easy process, they get you through the process making sure that as a business phone, you can message your clients. And not only message them individually, but even if you want to do like mass text messages to them as well, you know, like SMS campaigns to drum up more business and stuff. So I recorded a video with them. Shit, it's been a month now since I recorded the video. I did a little interview where they just kind of take you step by step through their software to get it all set up right. And I really need to get that edited and posted, just because it's been sitting there a while. and it needs to get, I did edit it once already. I had to censor a bunch of stuff because the person who did the interview, she came with like her own actual account, and therefore was exposing a lot of, you know, what I considered to be private information. So I censored all of it out. And then now they want me to remove a lot of that censorship because they said it's, well, they said she's comfortable, you know, having most of that particular information exposed. So I got to re-edit the entire thing. I owe Next Insurance a video. I owe Jobber a video. Plus I have about 27 other videos that I really, really want to make for me and for you. Plus I want to figure out what's going on with this, you know, project, this AI-backed project estimator. I want to figure out what's going on with this thing, and, you know, make a video from it, get it published, and get y'all using it. Seal Explicit said let. Just the word let. Let. If you care to expound upon that. Although I will be home soon. The wind's finally dying down a little bit, so I don't have to yell and protect my face. What's going on here? Daryl Lamoureux, what's going on, Daryl? Good to see you in here, sir. Daryl is quickly inserting himself into this community as a frequent flyer. I think you're going to be a household name soon as well. Welcome to the community. I know you're not new, but it is getting to the point where now I'm seeing your name going, Daryl's here. To be fair, you've got the same name as Daryl the Finisher, so that may be why I like you, because I like Daryl the Finisher a lot. Oh, another project that's coming up, guys, is, man, I got too much to do. There's no time to do all these things, but one of the next things I'm trying to do is some handyman panel discussion videos. And the way it would work is I would send you guys, whoever's going to be part of the panel discussion, send y'all the links to join, and in advance send you also the topics we're going to cover, because I want everybody to have an opportunity to fully research each topic. Like they were suddenly, you know, asked to talk about things that they're not comfortable talking about or that they aren't educated on. So I'll send the topics like the day before, set the appointment up, and then everybody shows up. And when everybody shows up, we just have a little discussion about the topics, a panel discussion where everybody gets to kind of chime in and provide their perspective. And the whole point is, you know, I'm not tired of running this channel by any means. I love it. But I am a little bit tired of just, you know, I don't want it to just be, here's what Ray has to say about everything over and over and over. I want it to be a discussion. Like there's plenty of valuable things. There's plenty of valuable opinions. There's plenty of different valuable perspectives to look at a lot of these things from. And we don't all have to do things Ray's way or any particular way. So I want to start getting these panel discussions going so that it feels like a discussion than just a one-way, you know, vomiting of information, essentially. So I'm looking forward to doing those. I don't know how and when I'm going to get them set up like everything else. There literally is just not enough time in the day. So it'll be when it will be. Daryl Lamoureux said, and I'd love some feedback. What kind of, oh, you mean, I don't know what you're referring to, I guess. I'm going to assume you're talking about the panel discussions. There goes was a handyman right there. Probably one of them guys stalking me. He's got a bunch of Milwaukee packouts in the back of his truck. Yeah, guy. Look at this helicopter, though. Welcome to Southern Arizona, the land of border enforcement. Actually, I believe that's a sheriff's helicopter, which can also be involved in border enforcement, but I think that's a sheriff's helicopter there. Daryl, by the way, I can't remember if you were, I don't know if you were here before, I don't think you were, but I'm getting some beta testers. Look at this beard, just getting blown everywhere. I'm getting some beta testers together for a new AI project estimator that I'm building. So, Daryl, if you would like to be a beta tester, please shoot me your email address, whatever email address that you use to be logged in at bulletproofhandyman.com. Whatever that email address is that you use to log in, if you send me that address, I can get you set up as a beta tester. And basically you just upload a video and you tell it what you want to do, and then it's going to give you all the steps, how long the job should take, how much you should charge, a whole bunch of other information. Rulo Shiwi said, why did the bearded thief shave before robbing a bank? Because he wanted to be a smooth criminal. Philip said, I made the post on Facebook about your missing lives. Often I'm only able to watch the lives after they are over. Glad to hear you're going to leave them up a few days. They're definitely valuable. Awesome, man. Yeah, Philip, and if you, like I said, if you want some links to some older ones and you're not being a weirdo and you just, want some info, I can set them to private where I can still send you a link and you can still watch it. You just really find some value there. I mostly just repeat myself. Mike said, I'm looking forward to the panel chats. Yeah, I'll have Mike on the panel chats too. Philip said, as a person working on starting a handyman business, right on. Ooh, all of this wind. Let's go check on my turkey. Yep, I knew it. Y'all get to meet my turkey. Hold on, I'll let you say hi in a minute. Getting them fed. There we go. There we go. Some good stuff, huh? Yeah, see, this is the only shade they have right now. And the wind has blown it all over the place. Yeah. There we go. All right. Usually he'll talk to me. He don't want to talk now because he's eating. Come here. Oh, come here, big guy. There we go. Oh, yeah. That's some good stuff. Yeah. He doesn't like me a lot. He loves Emily. She pets him all the time, but I don't know if he just recognizes that I'm a male and doesn't like any male of any species or what. But this big display with his feathers, that's not to impress me, that's to scare me. That's supposed to intimidate me and make me want to keep my distance. Also, because, not super aggressive or anything, a little aggressive with my kids here and there. So when he gets aggressive with them, I get aggressive with him. And so he kind of views me as a competitor anyways. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna head inside. Love you guys. Hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.